Hello, we're coming to you today from Globex, the expatriate agency based in Valencia in Spain. And today we have with us Lee Warren, who is a keynote speaker based in London, but with a great love of Spain, who has been fortunate enough to use many of Globex's varied services. So we're just going to have a few minutes chatting to Lee. Lee, tell me, how did you first come across Globex?
I was recommended to the company by a UK originally UK estate agent who I trusted a lot, gave me some great advice, and I said to him, do you know anyone for legal services? And he recommended Globex, so turned up here.
And then you turned up. And what was the first service that you took up with Globex?
The first service was advice, actually, from Tisca Navarro about buying property here, she gave both me and my partner some really great do's and don'ts, which saved us a lot of money in the long run.
Good. Short-term pain for long-term gain, thanks to her invaluable knowledge of the market.
Yeah, there are lots of, buying property in any market is stressful and worrying, and buying in a second language is even more stressful and worrying, and there are always local pros and cons, and of course, she's a local lawyer who knows all the cons.
She knows the pitfalls.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I believe you told me that you had one or three false starts.
Yeah, three.
Tell me a little bit about that.
The three false starts that we had were basically finding properties that on the surface appeared great. They were well within our budget and they looked beautiful and so on. And of course, there are sometimes intentional, sometimes unintentional problems with them, and sometimes things are hidden, and sometimes there are just problems with a flat that you'd never consider unless you'd lived in the city for years and you knew the local regulations. And in each of the three cases, there were significant problems that we would not have uncovered ourselves unless we'd lived in a flat for probably a couple of years. And Tisca found them and was very apologetic that she found the problems, but I said, we're very happy to pay you to save us hundreds of thousands in the future. So
Tisca saved the day.
She did.
Now, as you know, Globex also help in terms of what Tisca specifically helps in terms of sorting out residency, paperwork, that kind of thing. And I think you're going to be taking up that option with her down the line a little bit. The empadronamiento, etc.
The residency process we're going through right at the moment, actually, and she's taking care of all of that for me.
Yeah, she's fantastic because she just takes all the stress and
yes.
Somehow remains fragrant and relaxed.
Yes, yeah.
So the other side of the business, of course, is property. And one of the things that Globex does is it provides a soft landing in terms of having short-term lets that gives you time to get to know the city, to know the neighbourhoods, and to do your property searches. I believe you're currently using that service.
Yeah, I'm using the rental service, the short-term rental service. One of the things we realise is, although we know the city quite well, actually it's much more sensible to, even if you're thinking of buying, to rent for several months actually, and live and walk around and really get to know basic things like what's the sound like, can you live near a street or not, all those things that you don't want to find that out 6 months after you've bought a property. So the rental service from Globex is fantastic. It's everything was there in the flat, including the umbrella that I had to use today. I mean, who thought you'd ever need to use an umbrella in Valencia? But there was an umbrella in the flat just in case. Wow. There were slippers there when I arrived. It's really thoughtful actually, and clearly experienced and well thought out. And I had to change the arrival time a couple of times because flights keep getting delayed and changed, and that was really easy to do as well.
Good. One of the things that strikes me whenever I come into Globex is it feels very much like a family company. Yeah. It's very relaxed. Has that been your experience?
Yeah, absolutely. Really relaxed, and a really different approach to. I mean, obviously I'm British, so my feeling about certainly using legal services is they're often very formal and fastidiously charged by the second. You're sort of slightly frightened to speak to a lawyer in the UK. But absolutely the difference here, the opposite here. Yeah, absolutely.
You want a coffee? How much would it cost?
Yeah, there really is that feeling. Whereas here it's definitely the opposite. I mean, I feel like a mini part of the family already on a fairly brief acquaintance, actually. Yes. Good.
Is there anything else you'd like to tell us about Globex? Experience.
The other thing I think is really important. I guess the most important thing is the sense of reducing stress, because it's even if you're just renting, and particularly if you're renting and going through a residency process and going through a year like 2020's been, where it will be chaotic anyway. But being able to say to somebody else, here's what I want, can you do it? And that person says yes, and you know they can do it.
Yes.
That's a huge relief, actually, and makes for a better quality of life.
So Globex, experts at absorbing stress.
That would be a good strapline for them. Yeah, we'll take your stress away. Yeah.
Let's make it happen. Lee, thanks very much for talking to us today.